Hello and welcome to the Dr. Willow Show, where we are bridging sexuality, spirituality, and medicine together so that you can have the most phenomenal love life, sex life, and also a deep spiritual, intimate connection with not only your partner, but most importantly with yourself. So today we're going to talk about nipple orgasms. Have you ever even considered having an orgasm from nipple stimulation? It's something that's very unique and very different and very exciting when you are able to procure it into your love life. So, one of the first things I want to talk about is that the nipples stimulate the most important sexual organ in your body. What is that organ? What's the most important organ that really makes your body sexually alive and on fire? It's not your genitals and it's not your nipples. It's actually up here in your head. It's your brain. Your brain is so vital and so important for your sexual pleasure, for getting in the mood, for getting turned on. You've got to have the brain involved, right? So that's why certain books or movies or even pornography can be really stimulating to the brain. So what we want to do with nipple orgasms is really start to connect the nipples to the brain, the activity in the brain, specifically the pineal gland, which is right up here, crown chakra, connected to the crown chakra. So already connected to higher source, spirituality, mysticism, dream space, that very kind of like non-thinking, non-linear time and space. So really getting that pineal gland activated while the nipples are being stimulated. So I come across men and women all the time who tell me like, oh, my nipples they're really not that sensitive and I don't really get that much pleasure from them. They're just kind of there, and women a lot of times will think of their breasts as for others, for breastfeeding, so for their children or for the pleasure of their partner, but they don't think about their breasts as being for their own pleasure. And so there's this beautiful practice that I love to teach, Taoist sexual practice, that is really for women to reclaim their breasts for their own pleasure, for their own delight. But we're not going to go into that today. But this belief or experience that a lot of people do have, and you might be one of these people, that your nipples are not sensitive, is probably because they have not been activated properly. So there are, 7 different levels of touch for sexual enjoyment and pleasure. And so you've got to kind of explore each one of those different levels. We're not going to go into each one of those levels today, but definitely you want to explore with a softer, lighter, like a feather light touch. That's one end of the spectrum, and then more of like a firmer, more rigid, even something cold like an ice cube or a stone or a crystal, that can be really, really nice and stimulating, and playing with the different levels of pressure as well. So maybe you're working with something that's firmer and rougher for the nipple stimulation, but you like it at a lighter level, a lighter pressure. Or maybe you're working with something that's softer, more spongy, like you could even work with a piece of fruit, a strawberry or a mango, something slippery and delicious. And then you can play with the different levels of pressure. Do you like that lighter or do you like it firmer? And depending on how turned on you are in your brain, you are gonna want different levels of pressure as you get more and more turned on in your brain. So when you first begin this nipple stimulation, heading toward a nipplegasm, you want to really connect to that line of energy from your heart to your crown chakra, to this point right at the top of your head. Really feel this opening, this pathway. There's actually a channel in your body that runs the entire spinal column. And so when you open up that pathway and start to draw that energy and that vitality from the nipples up through the heart, up through the throat, up into the brain and right to the crown chakra, it can create like this fountain right? This fountain of energy. So it goes up through the center and then it goes out over through the top of the head and fountains out around you. So then you're actually creating this auric field all around you of pleasure, of delight, all coming from your heart area, from your nipples to the center of your heart. Such a beautiful practice. And for the men out there, you know, you'll also want to activate the genitals, of course. They're gonna have to be involved in this orgasmic process, and really focusing on the glands, the head of the penis, right? The very, very tip. Focusing on that, because that, for the men, is the reflexology of the penis, right? Right at the tip. The penis and the vagina have opposite reflexology for each other. We'll do another class on that another time, but the head of the penis is synonymous to the heart. So when you stimulate the glands, the head of the penis and the nipples at the same time, you're really building a lot of heart energy and then bringing it up to that pineal gland. And this is a process moving toward a nipple orgasm. Now, there's probably going to be a moment when you're like, okay, I'm getting really, really close. I'm getting really, really close. And in that moment, you're going to kind of want to still be in control of it. You have to surrender at that point. You have to just let go completely. You have to let go of your mind. You have to let go of your body. You have to kind of just drop into this nebulous place of oneness, of expansion, feeling connected to everything. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful experience. Now for the women having nipple stimulation orgasms, you're gonna wanna rub the clitoris. So either on your partner's belly, or, you know, there doesn't have to be sex involved, like penetrative sex involved, but getting some kind of movement going with your hips, some kind of gyration with your hips, and just rubbing the vulva on, could be, you know, your partner's belly or leg or anything. So there's a little bit of some movement and some energy coming from your clitoris and drawing it up into the nipples, drawing that stimulation all the way up through that central column, that column that runs the entire length of the spine. You draw it up, build it in the heart, build it really big and full in the heart, and then just let yourself go and let yourself really enjoy the experience of a nipple orgasm. I find that usually with people, one nipple is more sensitive than the other. So discover which one that is for you, because that's probably the one that's going to get you to your nipple orgasm more readily and more fully. Okay, my friends, have fun with that practice. It's so beautiful. It's so powerful. If you like this video, press like and join our party over at Alchemy of Sex on Facebook. We'll see you there.